I'm a people person, and I think it's amazing that something that came from a place of my hurt or pain, that I could turn that into being a healing process for someone. And I think that's what life is all about, you know what I'm saying? And that was, for me, the aha moment once I started getting that kind of feedback that the music that I was coming up with was really making a huge impact on a lot of people's lives.
Well, it has been said, Will, that rejection is only a redirection.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have this this wish, because the voice is a platform, but where it sounds like where God is leading you was for a more purposeful impact.
Definitely.
Because you and I are believers, along with Janie over here, and a lot of our viewers are and listeners are as well, as that we may not see what the grand plan is in the very end, but when you look back in your life, maybe 100 years from now, 85 years from now, then you get to that aha of saying, that's why I had to be rejected from the voice, because it would never have reached the platform. I mean, I'm reading your bio, and I mean, your Spotify downloads is over 1 million, over 2 million, and it's growing. And we don't know if that would have been the fan base. You could have been a one-hit wonder. There's been a lot of artists that are one-hit wonders.
Exactly.
But then I look
Especially
at the beauty. Yes, but I look at the beauty of who you are, and that was the first thing that gravitated towards me, was just the pureness of your voice. I was telling Jane, it's like I can't even begin to explain his voice, other than you just need to listen to this man, because
thank you.
you're welcome. To the point of the mother putting her child to sleep. The first time I heard you, it was so soothing, but it was something so different, because your voice hits the soul. And in fact, before we go into the second, to the a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind gracing us, folks that are listening on audio, folks that are watching this on video, I have asked Will, because this is one of my favorite songs, and I think it's very, this is just a poignant part of this podcast, that he can sing one of those favorite songs that I have requested, which is Hallelujah.
Okay,
So
no
we'll
problem.
take a long break for a few minutes while Will does this. Thanks, Will.
Oh, there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. But she tied you to the kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from her lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
And that's the reason why, Janie, I just fell in love with this man's voice.
Yes.
So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm like all emotional over here, just because, again, now hearing the story, I mean, we've really gone unscripted. Thank you for the world exclusive on the story behind your why, Will. I mean, that is very powerful. The gift of music for singers is a very healing.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So if we, I don't even have, I don't know what to say, because I'm just so filled right now with the love that you have. And it's so telling of the passion that is within your voice and your song. Mm-hmm. Janie, how are you doing on your end?
I'm still hearing hallelujah in my head. So I'm back to being centered here. Absolutely beautiful, Will. You are just such a beautiful soul.
Thank you.
Stepping out and following your passion and your heart, and today sharing us with your pain and your why, I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people, because we can see people on platforms, and Melanie and I who take stages and speak, a lot of people can see that front, but they don't understand the why. But when people understand the why, they appreciate you so much more. Definitely. But we also know that when we are in that place of fulfilling our purpose, that we also come up with obstacles. So when you think about you being on this journey and staying focused to what God has for you, how do you deal with obstacles, and what does that look like?
I'd say, like, when I was younger, dealing with obstacles was a lot harder. I mean, I would say that my dad equipped a lot of his kids with certain I don't know. It's like my parents did a good job raising us, and so for the I would say, even from when I was younger, I had a better outlook on life than most people, and most people my age. And so for dealing with obstacles, I've never been the type of person to give up. And so, there's the saying, like, when life knocks you down, you're supposed to get back up. And that's always been my natural thing. Like, I just never gave up on things ever since I was younger. And, there's certain things that happen in life that when it knocks you, it hits you super hard. And, like, one of them was, like I said, my little brother, and then The Voice. Like, I wasn't I didn't look like Superman when I got kicked off The Voice. Like, I was crying a lot, man. I was 22 at the time. I cried, just to be transparent with you guys, because I saw myself be in one place and it didn't happen. And it kind of made me just sit down, God took me, was like, have a seat, and really you need to, like, realize that, I am the person in control, not The Voice, not anything else, And so, not to say that I was in a time in my life where I was arrogant or just thinking too highly of myself, but I say where I am now, obstacles happen to everyone, and it's just about realizing that no matter how hard your life is at the moment, it gets better, You know what I'm saying? It might take a couple of days, it might take a week, might take a month, but through prayer and through surrounding yourself with positive people, with positive energy, and people that love you is what makes the obstacles easier,
And I'm so glad that you said that, because people need to hear that obstacles are going to happen, and you keep going on, and you focus on your purpose and your passion, and you focus on your light, and keep moving, because as Melanie and I always have these conversations, but the higher the levels, the higher the devils, right? And they can come in all forms. And I heard this expression that someone had sent me a video about the cobras and the pythons, right? The cobra we see coming, the python, they slowly squeeze us out. So when you talk about being around positive people, we have to keep those circles tight. You got to know who's around you. You got to know who's for you. So as you are rising up, those people that are going to be loyal to you, you know who they are, and to continue to do that, because life is going to continue to be a lesson. So when you think about, you shared some major pain moments with us, the loss of your brother, which I relate with that personally, and then going before The Voice, and even in this transparent moment and saying, you know what, I was not Superman coming out of there. I was in tears. I was hurt. People can resonate with that, right? Because when we have our hopes up to fulfill whatever our dreams are, and they don't come in that moment, we're in that moment of pain. But where you are today, going back to what Melanie had said, in the big picture, it can probably all make sense.
Definitely.
because you are your path. God knew what your path was going to be. So when you think about, you know, you shared some of the deepest pains, but when you think about like where you are today, you know, when you are praying to God and you're thankful for where you are, I mean, what are some of those other like pain points? You know, of course, the psychotherapist in me, and I'm always about drive and understanding why people do what they do. And I know for a fact, we're either running from a pain or we're trying to cover up a pain, or we're in our purpose. And there's no doubt that you are in your purpose. So when you think about your life journey and your family, when you're praying at night, what does that look like for you when you're thinking about those things of what you've gone through that your fans can also relate to? Because they're hearing your music, it's authentic, it's from the heart. And then there are people that are going through their own painful situations that are listening to your music because it's helping them get through. What would you say to them?
I would say to them, just like, it's weird. I don't, man, it's you just put me on the spot right there. I don't know, and I don't. I'm trying to think of something that would be a lot more elaborate than just keep going and don't give up type stuff. The most cliche things, but I would say just like I said before, it's like environment is everything, you know, and I would say there's a lot of people like that's probably viewing right now that are in abusive relationships, whether it be emotionally or physically. And I've been blessed to have be in a family that had nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got whoopings when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? The way island people discipline the children are a lot different than I would say Americans. But I remember growing up, you know what I'm saying? You get a whooping for something because you did something wrong. But my dad would sit me on his lap and be like, I didn't want to do that. I did that because I love you. You know what I'm saying? And instead of me just thinking my parents would just beat me for no reason, it was because I love you. And I'm a 6'4", 185-pound man now, and I don't feel animosity towards my parents. We laugh about the times where we did stupid things and we got whoopings. But if anyone's in an abusive relationship, like whether it be a boyfriend, girlfriend, and it's sometimes when people are in those kind of relationships, they feel like they can't get out, or that they're stuck, or that they just physically just can't get out of it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, just surround that. You don't have to stay in that. And that's just for one section. But and just in general, like environment and the energy that you surround yourself by, it's a very important thing. You know what I'm saying? And it could either be your biggest feat or your biggest downfall. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't sometimes control the people that are snakes or the wolves. You know what I'm saying? Some people might be in your camp and they are all for you, but deep down they want to see you fall. But you know what I'm saying? You could definitely, I feel like God's placed a kind of a meter in all of us. When you meet someone, there's either red flags that come up and you see immediately, or you could feel if someone's a good person or if they aren't. You know, sometimes people ignore that if they're infatuated by them, whether it be physically or, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling on some random stuff.
No, God is putting the word in you, and I think someone needed to hear that. I honestly do, because toxic people, especially when you are in your gifting and you're going to continue to rise, and you're looking at your circle, insecurity cannot stand in your presence. So eventually they will fall off, right? Because, you know, they have to really be secure in themselves and really be rooting for you. Yeah. And, you know, we're continuously educating and letting people know, you know, and I'm a business owner, so I deal with different types of situations all the time. So I understand that concept. So I think you were telling people what they need to hear, because we're hearing your music, but to know you as a person really makes people even appreciate hearing your songs even more. Isn't that right, Melanie?
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to have to say, thank goodness, Will, that we are on good energy. I'm pretty sure, you know, and as Janie is a business owner, you and I are both public figures. And we do get all sorts of fans that you get the really good feeling. I actually call it the spirit of discernment. Yeah. That's saying there's a connection that needs to be made here. And then you have the opposite of run away and run and put the walls up and the windows down. Right. And run as far as you can. But with you, and I think because there is an anointing in your life, it is felt through your music, it is felt through your character and your words. You know, I'm going to jump here, and because I saw it, you know, of course, you're going to see me and Janie go back and forth on your Instagram, because I'm going to do the